The impossible rap is ready to appear. Is it possible you are ready to hear? It's got something to do with what you just said. It's a thought you can't remember in the back of your head. Down the Alice in Wonderland with the white trash.
You want to fight back, but there's no point. What's the point? They won. They already won. And they're all dying off now. They all lived too long.
Japanese landscaping, France with the PC. She liked religious icons, even though she wasn't religious, she had a deep spiritual connection, really. As we saw today when the Jehovah's Witnesses that came by and was so sad to hear. It was so heartbreaking. Okay. We welcomed them in. And they said that Norma had always loved their Watchtower magazine. She wasn't really pleased with
Right, right.
So Norma embraced everything. She was the first woman to own a car in her street.
They gave us the illusion of mobility.
Country, little green islands have been popping up on Australian roads under the code name of roundabout. And the people are asking, have they been sent to confuse us, distract us, or just make us dizzy?
The basic rules for a roundabout is always move in a clockwise direction and give way to traffic already on the roundabout. So now Evan and Sam and I are gonna play the roundabout game. Ready, boys?
Because the green van is already on the roundabout, the orange car gives way and then drives off after it. This is the...
Everyone who read my book and didn't give me any feedback knew.
A bit of trivia for you. Photocopy machines are actually made by robots. Take the green from the grass and the blue from the sky up above. And if you color my world, just paint it with your love. If you want your copy to be larger or smaller than the original, some models feature an enlarger reducer, which can take your copy down to a pin dot or enlarge it till it's larger than life. See the resemblance?
The gorgeous lips of Wednesday Kennedy. Good on.
Because you can be sure they were talking about it behind the scenes.
Thank you. Thank you. Did you catch that? The handover?
Wow.
Nice one, thank you. Me and Martin.
That's so beautiful. They knew what was the matter with me before I did.
So twinkle, twinkle, little star. You know, I wonder how it is, you know, really. You got so far away.
Lewis told me. One of the last conversations I had with him. He said,
okay, everybody. 1, 2, 3, cheese!
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
This is Andre. Hi.
Lewis told me. He said, people should stop wanting for more than they have and just stay in their class. And he knew. He knew I was part of an experiment.
Before Christianity came to Avalon, it was the home of pre-Christian religion, the religion of the Druids on the holy Isle of Avalon. Avalon was not an earthly place. Only those that believed in secrets, magic and fairies could enter Avalon. But as Christianity grew stronger, Avalon faded into the mists.
What a nice story from Wednesday Kennedy in England.
Because some of them were making money out of videoing me, photographing me, grooming me.
This side up, on the corner, 138th and St. Nick, I caught America with her panties down, peeped under her dress, and saw a cardboard one-person shanty town. So, anyway, Paul, of course, went on to become a great, and has come on to be a great novelist. It was Mikey Pinheiro. I can't tell you, there are only two poets I've ever seen who sit down and write a poem. I may have to modify that in a minute, but the two poets historically that I've looked over their shoulders, watched them write a poem with no cross-outs, no go-backs, no changes. Mikey Pinheiro and Ntozake Shange. It just flows from them. And Mikey was so not Benjamin Black. In the movie Pinheiro, you'll see this 6'4" gorgeous poet who pulls the little notebook from his back pocket and reads it to the gorgeous woman at daybreak on the piers in the East River. No, Mikey was like 5'2". He was a little, he was wearing a little, just a long coat and a hat. You could see him in there somewhere. And he carries around one of those little notebook with the black and white, the marble notebooks like they always have in the schools. And that was where he would write down his poems in there, And he wasn't interested in the bottled beauties either. He had other things he was interested in as far as that goes. But Mikey was, a genius writer and really sort of the
coercing me, suggesting my next move, pretending to love me.
Anything is possible, babe. You belong with me. So let your mind run free. So let your mind run free. Welcome to my wonder
We did not fly civilian planes into their system. Looks could kill. Laid hold of yourself.
What, you freelancing or you work?
I'm part of the great big plan to make the working class think that there's something to aim for. And then you just pull the rug.
That I then had to write the impossible rap.
What do you mean that my work is incomprehensible and that you're scared that people will think that I'm crazy? What do you mean by that?
Well, what I mean by that is...
Like I'm living real time here. Sesame cake. Fuck that cake.
These two are bloody poets. I think we should do a show.
A show.
Women who love to get...
You know, I had War Boys there. He was ready.
The happily ever after.
I mean, New York fucking minute.
Women on the verge.
What does ever mean? I don't know. Ever.
And that's why I cancelled this gig. I said to you, it's going to be a fucking dog's breakfast.
If you keep going that way, where do you get to? I thought New York was that way.
And you said, oh, no, let's do it. It's going to be great.
From internationally acclaimed filmmaker...
We'll call it Prelude to the Apocalypse.
There's not a dingo in the county.
So you fucking well talked me into doing it.
I'm going crazy.
I couldn't get your attention for 1 minute.
comes a deliriously deranged comedy.
You know, Bipolar Bear's going to play a tune, so there will never be any pauses.
You're beautiful.
You're full of shit.
Takes no prisoners.
I'm the firstborn of Mara coming to this starting BBB.
For you.
Spares no victim.
You.
And then at the end of that,
You.
you tell me that it's incomprehensible and you don't want people to think I'm crazy.
Oh, the rest of resolution is not a solution.
Fuck you!
And you.
Yeah.
Women on the verge of a nervous breakdown.
There's a hula hoop in the house.
Hula hoops up the front.
You could stop being an artist and go be an artist. Thank you, sir. I thought you went that way. You get to Tasmania.
Oh, video. Bipolar Bear, piano. Hula hoop.
But they knew there was no mobility. They knew it all along.
How real is this? Listen, I depart New York City for Sydney on October 22nd, which I believe is going to put me in town on October 24th, early morning, unfatigued, untrammeled, bright and shiny, and asking for more. I'll be leaving for Darwin on the 20th or the 30th, whatever, the 30th, where I'll be shooting the final segment of the PBS documentary on endangered languages. Charlie Mangulda is the last speaker of Amur Doc. And so that's my window for Sydney, 10/24 to 10/29, 2013, sometime around now.
I'm an outsider. Who's along the dog? The power, I'm good to one. I'll take a pound now. What? Shut up. Oh, boy, are we going to clean our stand in the wine? 40 to 1. Can you count? 4,000 pounds for your measly 100.
Flew to Sydney.
We should write to Blue and say, how do you do, Blue? The newest thing is to have weddings.
Oh, that's adorable. Oh my God, like a picture book.
And hand out passports.
And then when the master finally, the programmer or the handler finally has finished programming the slave.
You are my Tampa manatee. You are my occupy. You are an eucalyptus octopus.
And if he wants to call up a particular altar, he would say...
Also submarine. Surreality check. You.
That right there would be the access code to pull up a particular personality that they would want. And a lot of these personalities will not live in reality. They live in a total science fiction world.
Já už to mám na mapě najít, jak budeme výjíždět. Jo, ta mapa už je zmapována, ale...
If you showed a Walt Disney movie like this, you're creating the images for them to use hypnotically as they go in and do the behavior modification and hypnosis on that altar. And so this could be used to create a doorknob altar within a person's mind. And
a ramshackle melody, a forgotten memory that never happened. And when all is said and done, actually nothing was said and nothing was done.
Horses.
Every day I pray to God to give me horses. Wonderful horses.
Wonderful horses. Beautiful horses. Magnificent horses, sir. Well, Mr. Cole, would you like to see some horses?
Yes, sir. After you circle, you stop on your mark, stage left. Lean forward in the saddle, face the audience, wave, greet them. Where's the horse? Bring in the damn horse. Spot, please.
Hello, I'm Mr. Red.
Hold it.
Hello, Percy Dove Tonsils here. I am a creation of Ernie Kovacs, and I was the first poet that Bob Holdman ever saw. You'll notice my nice smoking jacket and my eyebrows and my bottle glasses that I can't see out of, and my cigarette holder. And my martini. You'll notice all of this. Because now I, Percy of the Dove Tonsils family, shall read the inscription, the dedication, and the poem to Wednesday Kennedy that Bob has written in his new book. Thank God he's above the title.
That looks good.
So it's war! I'm off to the battlefield!
No, Doctor, that's for the racetrack.
Racetrack? Well, what am I doing here?
If you will all
Study
station, who knows?
Language is so that you can call up on the phone and order a pizza and it will be delivered to your house.
And that's just what they'll do.
And still you keep coming! You're coming like a river!
they've been dehumanized.
The Higgs boson, the gluon.
Here's how one of Cisco's altars perceived herself.
You are the castle of doubt on the plane of forgetfulness. You, that's who.
So it's war! I'm off to the battlefield!
No, Doctor, that's for the racetrack.
Racetrack? Well, what am I doing here?
If you will all study station, who knows, but we may yet have a horse race. Horses are back at the starting point.
130, number 22. We only had some dough. I gotta take some lieutenant. Son of a gun, he's in the next race.
Mother tongue doesn't mean anything to these people since there are so many languages around. Instead, the closest they have to a mother tongue is that they own a language. The way that you own...
Bob's talking about the Aboriginals. But the funny thing is, I was going to call my book 21st Century Showgirl Black on the Inside. And I changed my mind because I knew nobody would buy it and the whole PC brigade would attack me. You know, I took enough guts just self-publishing. And I couldn't deal with another attack.
The spirit songs are sung in a language that only spirits understand. So the person who's speaking them doesn't know what it means. They just have learned this, and they sing for the spirits.
I would no longer be the woman in search of a revolution. I would reinvent myself as wife and mother. The social sanctity of marriage would bring me back in from the fringes. I would at last become the sort of woman that my mother could relate to. The poet was a last peep into the life that I was leaving behind. So I kept the clandestine meeting on the Seine, arriving late enough to have second thoughts, late enough to question why I'd come at all. I crossed the Quai d'Orsay and I stood behind the telephone booth waiting for him. He came late enough to give me time to change my mind. I watched him arrive, stop, look around, keep walking. When he had disappeared from view, I took the opposite direction towards the metro, limp with relief. Why be a poet's mistress when you could be a Frenchman's wife?
About that everybody knows what language is for. Language is so that you can call up on the phone and order a pizza and it will be delivered to your house.
Ring me, the poet.
I rang him immediately, with my heart thumping in my chest. The word at the end. Immediately, with my heart thumping in my chest. The word at the entire English-speaking community in Paris was witness to our dangerous liaison. How many Wednesdays are there in Paris?
As many as are on December. As many as are on December. As many as are on December. As many as are on December.
Oh, 1 week from marriage. I was already a potential adulteress.
You know, we can call it talking in tongues. That's as close as we can come, but it's not an ecstatic God is speaking through me. It's their gift in the language they don't speak. But when languages die, parts of them get accrue in spirit songs.
At that stage, I didn't know that my great-great-grandmother was Octavia Hamilton, or, you know, Mrs. Eliza Moon. Miss Octavia Hamilton, Madame Schluter, Miss Lorette, Monsieur Emile Coulon. They did a lot of gigs together. Star Theatre. Thursday. Octavia, my love, where art thou? Octavia Hamilton was a contralto who flourished in Melbourne in the late 1850s and through the 1860s. She had several children to unknown fathers, shacked up with a gent above a wine shop, and made her husband pay for it. She was looked upon generally as a scandalous figure and a model of what was wrong with professionals, as stage folk were then called. When I dug into the census of 1841, I found something interesting. She was 15 years old when her future husband, Augustus Graham Moon, was lodging with the family. The only lodger. Well, slap me happy if they didn't get married that very year. Mr. Moon must have had his way with Octavia under her father's roof. That's gumption. And all these years I'd have been feeling sorry for hard done by Mr. Moon. Was Octavia, Frances Eliza Scrivener, really Melbourne's operatic tart-in-chief? Or was her behaviour a long campaign of revenge? I'll never know. She's hard to find, almost impossible. The only route I have open to the little red Corvette that resides in my brain is the tarmac road of her daughter's descendant.
Weddings, but by her lips with her own teeth.
Subway.
Black teeth, teeth. Weddings, weddings.
Hello, darling. Are you the cab?
That's right.
Good on you. Off we go, off to the airport. Watch the step. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay.
And the distaste on that woman's face when we asked for an ashtray. I knew she was cursing us with gangrene and emphysema.
Já už to mám na mapě najít, jak budeme výjíždět. Jo, ta mapa už je zmapováno, ale...
You keep saying you got something for me. Something you call love, but confess.
Looking for Barikowski.
Jo, já mám říct looking.
Looking for Barikowski.
Octavia Hamilton is one of those anorexic footnotes in Australian musical history who, despite efforts to feed her citation, starves in written memory. She was, most sources tell, the principal contralto in the Philharmonic Society, and that is usually all one receives in the way of revelation, except in more weighty academic ventures in the music of the 19th century in Australia, where you may see mention of the scandalous Mrs. Moon, as she was in married life, and the numerous children associated with her behaviour. To further sketch the picture in a way that Cruikshank may have drawn it, there is a tough and bitter husband, Augustus Graham Moon. It was venomous, public, and contumelious. Contumelious. What a word, wow. Contumelious. As with the minor satellites of domestic tragedy, there's usually some kind of knotted psychological mess, and there appears to have been in Octavia's case just such a knot, positively Gordian. It reaches back into her family's past, and let me say right here that I am supposing greatly, but making sure my suppositions drift magnetically along the natural currents of likelihood. She was born Elizabeth Octavia Scrivener, 8th child and daughter of John Walter Scrivener, solicitor of London, who suffered intermittent success in his field, being bankrupt on more than one occasion and dissolving at least one professional partnership that is known. His father, in turn, Elizabeth Octavia grandfather, Harry G. Scrivener, a Surrey man, had married a miner, one Elizabeth Crayston, and had a respectable number of children, one of whom became Sir Harry Scrivener, who made his name a title and many pounds sterling in mercantile pursuit of iron, and who married into the Bayes Cotton family. The Bayes Cotton family were a wealthy Victorian family with ministers peppered upon every branch of the family, and a hard fog of religious adherence wrapped around all. Some of Sir Harry's children even emigrated to Australia. She was English, and she was descended through an illegitimate blue bloodline back to the 10th Earl of Pembroke. On the maternal side, the truancy of success made itself well known. Her own wedding Octavia's maternal grandmother, Caroline Metcalfe, had been born in about 1768 and was the illegitimate but recognised daughter of Henry Herbert, the badly behaved horse-loving 1/10 of an adventurer, 10th Earl of Pembroke, whom Horace Walpole found intolerable and regular fodder for wit. The poor daughter, the second illegitimate child, Caroline, had been the offspring of the libidinous Earl, and some poor woman who he had whisked off and bedded on her wedding day to some poor unfortunate groom in Venice. The Pembroke papers do not mention who this unfortunate husband was, nor the name of the woman, nor how or where the pregnancy was carried, but be that as it may, Octavia was still the great-granddaughter of a peer, although I am sure the details were lost on purpose, and the nobility part thoroughly elevated and glazed. At the end of her brilliant career, my great-grandmother, Alice Moon, at 8 years old, was cast into an orphanage where she, spent the rest of her youth, and then she later on went into service and worked for a man named Singleton, who apparently built the railways. And Fritz Springmeier will tell you that the men who built the railways were all Illuminati. So there's the Illuminati line all the way through. And, there's the memory of that scandal, because that scandal was in the press. Everybody knew about that. And then the memory of Octavia Hamilton was basically buried in shame. So that language, my mother tongue, and I can write a whole story about how that has been passed down, how every generation.
And so, the dedication, it looks like this, and it sounds like this. Wednesday's child is full of wonder. One day, someday, Wednesday, tomorrow day, every day, your day, our day. Direct from Poet's Corner, sing this one back to me immediately, forever. Not an affair, but an episode, and now he's doing the dishes. Water mermaid, air lorikeet, fire your hair, earth massage. Could you please take good care of my tongue, please? Still here, writing, what else? By the way, if you do find that sock, ... And on piano, roller in. Are these the keys you're looking for? I forgot my name. Love, oh yeah, Bob. There it is.
That was beautiful. Will you tell Bob I loved it?
I will speak to Bob very soon on his way to the interview, on his way to lunch with Philip Johnston, composer, on his way to the whatever Meriden.
It's just so heavy, I just get overwhelmed, because the irony is, Bob's just spent 4 days in Sydney activating my Monarch programming, and he's going off now to, record the last speaker up in Arnhem Land. Somewhere, Charlie Mangala. And he's very proud about this, about recording The Last Speaker, you know. He's like to him words are nuggets of gold, and, you know, his trip to Australia is like this, his gold rush, you know, and his first stop is to take me down, reactivate me, and set up the locals to keep me reactivated. So, I don't know, he could handle us all from New York, perhaps that was the idea. He would certainly have earned a lot of points in the system. The short of it is, marriage is a trauma that has been in my family, that has run through my maternal line since the 10th Earl of Pembroke seduced a woman away from her own wedding day and into his bed. And from then on in, that trauma, you can, now I know my history, I can just see it, I can see it play itself out in each generation because it's been orchestrated.
So they don't die, and they're used for a purpose.
I sing you praises, a kingdom come revelation,
A lunch that blossoms to birth a new species.